Alright, now first I would like you to understand the role of the data analyst. So what is a data analyst? Well, it is very simple. You answer the business questions using data. Think about yourself as a bridge between the raw data and the real business decisions. So now I can say that I have joined like around 7 data teams and projects, and now I would like you to understand exactly what data analysts do in real companies. So now it is story time. Let's go. Okay, so now in companies, in business, we have managers, stakeholders, project leads, and their whole job is to make smart decisions by asking critical questions. So for example, which region is underperforming? Why are profits down? And should we invest here? So there are many challenges in the business and they need quick and smart decisions. So now without using data, they are just guessing. They rely on opinions, gut feelings, and many outdated informations left and right. And there is famous quote from William Deming I really like and use a lot. Without data, you are just another person with an opinion. So that means if your decision process is based on opinions, this has high chance to lead to confusion, wasted resources, and making bad decisions for the business.
I think that pretty much sums it up.
So now instead of guessing, they have to decide based on data. So now in companies, the data are scattered everywhere. Your data is stored in many different databases. There are a lot of spreadsheets and maybe as well APIs that provides data. So they are everywhere, and the managers of course don't have the time or the skills in order to dive into all those places. So that's why they go and hire an expert, a specialist. They hire the data analyst. So think about it like you are a detective and you start gathering data from different sources. So you go and query the different databases and as well pull the data from the spreadsheets and the different APIs. So you have to go and get the data wherever they live. So now of course all those data are messy and you have to go and clean and structure those data. So maybe you're gonna go and put the data everything in one spreadsheet like in Excel, and you start doing a lot of stuff on the data, cleaning up the data, organizing it, doing a lot of calculations, transformations to get the data ready to answer the business question. Now after you find something meaningful from the data, you start turning the data into insights, into a visual report, because it is way easier to communicate the result to the stakeholders and managers using visuals. So that means once you are ready, you go to the managers and you start presenting the result as a story using the report and visuals that you have prepared. Now the managers got facts, and this time they have answers to their questions using data. So now they are more confident and they make better and smarter decisions for the business. So now you can see clearly what the data analyst does. He or she is the bridge between the raw data on the left side and the business on the right side. And all what he is doing is answering the critical business questions using the raw data. And as well, it is very clear which skills this analyst needs. So as we understood first, you will be querying the databases in order to pull the data, and in order to talk to the data and the databases, you use SQL, or sometimes we call it SQL. And we have understood as well, once you collect all the data, you will be using spreadsheet like Excel in order to clean, sort, filter, and do calculations on the data. So they have to master Excel, and after analyzing the data using the spreadsheet, you need a data visualization skills using tools like maybe Power BI or Tableau to create charts and clear visuals to be reported to the managers. And of course, one very important skill and crucial, you must clearly understand the business questions from the managers and communicate the results and the findings very effectively. So you have to master this skill. You have to tell a story behind the data. So you need really very good communication skills. So that means if you master those skills, you will be an amazing data analyst that's gonna help the company and the managers making the smart decisions. And now, my friends, we have an issue. This might work for a small company, but it will not work for a modern big companies, and here's why. Now, big companies generate big data, and it's gonna be really hard for the data analyst to manually extract the data for analysis, because you're gonna need a lot of data, and your request gonna take like hours and even days to get the data, and it might crash, and it's gonna be sometimes impossible to get the data. So it's gonna be for you as a data analyst really hard to answer any questions, and your process is gonna take weeks until you give any answers. And of course, managers cannot wait for weeks in order to get like an answer. So my friend, this approach will not work. This is simply does not scale. So now we have to go and scale things and hire new people. Now a data architect, it's like an architect of a building. You have to design the blueprint of a scalable data system, and you have to go and organize the data into multiple layers. Like for example, the Mendelian architecture, you have a bronze layer for the raw data and a silver layer for a clean data and a gold and very important layer for clean, structured and optimized data. So all what the data architect is doing is designing this scalable data system. So now as you can see, the data architect is designing this scalable data system, but as usual, they are not the one that is building it. For that, we need another experts, and we call them the data engineers. So now as a data engineer, you're gonna go and build something called data pipelines. Well, it's all about to connect to multiple source systems and start automatically moving the data from the sources to the new data system. And as well, very important, the data must move quickly. So the pipeline is gonna bring the data to the first layer, to the bronze layer. As a raw data, nothing fancy gonna happen here. Then the data engineer gonna move the data to the silver layer, and there the data get cleaned, structured and prepared for the final layer. Now in the final layer, the data engineer gonna go and build a data model, which is highly organized and optimized model that is perfectly made for quick analysis. And we have with that a process that runs automatically from the source systems until the final layer, and this runs every day very fast and in some scenarios as a stream, like a real live data. So remember now our data analyst friend. So now thanks to the data architect and the data engineer, analyst's life now is way easier. No more nightmare of pulling the data manually from the source system. No need anymore for the spreadsheets and the Excel lists. Now everything is prepared for the data analyst to be fast.
Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on!
So now again, as a data analyst, once you get a question from the business, you can go quickly and straight away to the gold layer where everything is prepared. And now using SQL, you will be querying the data model in the gold layer in order to explore and try to find answers for the question. So once you find it, you will go and build again like a visual report and tell a story for the managers. And with this setup, you only focus on what matters, on finding answers for the business. And this can speed the whole process for you, and you will be ready to answer quickly the questions. Now, I'm really sorry we are not done yet. There is still an issue in this story. Now, all what you are doing here as a data analyst is that you are answering ad hoc questions, and your answers are always like one-time reports. But what can happen for sure is that one of your reports gonna deliver really an incredible value, and it is not just useful for once and only for the managers. Many people across the company gonna be interested in these reports. So you're gonna have a new user groups that's gonna ask you one question. I want your report every day.
No! God, please, no! No!
And the nightmare gonna come back where you have every day to run the same query and generate the same reports, and you're gonna daily send these reports to the users. And this gonna be total waste of your time and gonna build huge stress on you. And that's why companies gonna bring another person to the data team, and this time we're gonna have the business intelligence developer or BI developer. So once the BI developer joins, you as a data analyst gonna say, hey, go and automate this report and make it visible for many users. So first, the BI developer gonna build an environment like a server where the dashboards and reports gonna live. This must be secure and has an access management. Sometimes you cannot give all the data for everyone in the company. And as well, this server must be accessible 24/7. So the reports and dashboard must be always available. So once the reporting server is there, the BI developer gonna take everything, the report, the logic, and build from it something called interactive dashboards. And what is very important, this dashboard gonna be automatically connected to the gold layer, to the data model. So that every day, and this is important, the dashboard and the reports gonna get fresh data from the data system, from the gold layer. And once everything is live, the user is gonna go and start requesting access to the reports and start accessing the dashboards and the data. Everything is highly automated and scalable. So the data gonna flow from the sources into the different layers of our data system, and as well automatically flowing logging to the reporting server and refreshing the data there. So this is the big differences between the data analyst and the BI developer. The data analyst is the one that is bringing the first report and insights, and once a visual or a report gets very important, the BI developer is the one that is responsible of making this report accessible, scalable, and everyday available for many users. Now, so far we have helped the business and the managers with questions that are about the past and the present. What happened? How much did we sell? Why did sale drop? But at some point, the manager's gonna ask bigger questions. Questions about the future. What will happen next month? Can we predict which customers might leave us? What can happen if we change our pricing strategy? So they are advanced questions about the future, and to be honest, the data analysts don't have the tools in order to answer them. And for that, we need another expert called the data scientist.
This is Sheldor the Conqueror. We are about to enter Atzel's fortress.
The data scientist is the one that's gonna use the data in order to build and train models. They're gonna do a lot of experiments, so at the end the scientist gonna use this model in order to give answers for the future. So with that, the managers are not just informed, they are as well prepared for the future. They are proactively making decisions, they stay ahead of the competition, and as well they tackle challenges before they even appear. Now this type of work is very important thing not only for the managers and projects leads, this is important for everyone else. Now this model, this work from the data scientist must be visible for other users. And this is the same thing that happens before, right, with the BI developer. But now we need another type. We have the machine learning developer, ML developer. So now what they're gonna do, they're gonna as well prepare a server and environments to run and deploy the model from the data scientist. So they're gonna go and put it in productive environments, and everything gonna be now automatically secure, scalable, and available 24/7. And the result of this model could be presented in like an application to show the result of the predictions for everyone, or as well sometimes they show it in dashboards and reports. So their job is to make the result of this model available in many services in the company and accessible by other users and built by the ML engineer. And with that, everyone from the managers to teams across the company benefits from advanced predictions every day and anytime. So now by looking to this, everything is highly automated. The data can flow from the sources to the data system and then flows to the reports and dashboards, and as well automatically flow to our model that is trained from the data analyst and built from the ML engineer. So this is what a modern big company built. They build scalable data system. Now if you look to this, you can see there is a pattern. You can see the data architect is working closely to the data engineer to build the data system. The data analyst works as well closely to the BI developer in order to build this reporting system, and the data scientist together with the ML engineer, they work on building an advanced analytical system. And there is actually another pattern. You can see in those roles there is always somebody is like doing a design, like the data architect is like designing the data system, and the data analyst is like building the first version of the reports. Same thing for the data scientist, he is the one that is experimenting and training the first version of the model. So those ones are always like trying to discover, trying to put the blueprint. And now in the other side, we have the other category. You have the persons that are building it, bringing it to a productive, scalable environment and making things live. Like the data engineer is the one that builds the data pipelines and this data system. The BI developer is bringing the reports and dashboards into scalable and productive reporting system, and the machine learning engineer is the one that is bringing the model and deploy it into a productive system and offering the results in different services. So they are the engineers, they are the developers. So this is what a real modern data team looks like. Alright my friend, one more last thing. If you really enjoyed this type of tutorials where it's free and as well I sketch those complex concepts and you want more content like this, then support the channel by subscribing, liking, commenting. This can really help with the algorithm and gonna support the channel by reaching others like you, and as well it can help me to make more content like this. And of course, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.